Welcome back to the channel. We're out in the large greenhouse checking on our DIY Jean Pain compost heating system. We're sitting about 32 degrees right now outside. It's about 8:15 in the morning, sitting about 50 degrees in the greenhouse. So we started at about 27, 28 degrees before the sun actually broke. So it was pretty cold out. We got some hoops built here. Just doing a walk through with the coffee this morning. We got our hoops built. Be able to cover these heading collards and those beets, and we're going to kind of rough the bed up and replant a bunch of stuff. And you can see all those radishes popping up where we have moisture. Those must be leftover seed or plants that had gone to seed this summer. So we've definitely seen some cold temps. Our stevia here has died back. Our rosemary is still doing well, but that stevia is not as hardy as a rosemary is. We're sitting probably about 45 degrees in the greenhouse. The sun just broke over our trees, so we just got the sun. It just started melting everything. We had a little bit of frost on the top of the greenhouse. We've noticed a lot of condensation on the greenhouse and in our tunnels also, which I don't mind it being in the tunnels here because we've got about 50 feet of tunnel there and I have to water all that, so we kind of just recycle that moisture as it comes also. So jumping over to the actual heating system, sitting about, what's that say, almost 100 degrees, just under 100 there. I just tossed a glove over that just to kind of capture the air and force it up over and into the path of our thermometer here so I could get a better reading, because that air is hot coming out of there. I couldn't explain how hot it was. It feels like a sauna in here sometimes because it literally will heat this whole thing up. Even on a cloudy day, this tube will heat up the whole greenhouse and it will dry most of this end of condensation. We've been lucky with a few sunny days and not so bad of weather. We haven't had a whole lot of snow or precipitation yet. The only thing we've really had to deal with is the wind, so that's not so bad. The wind does sap the heat out of the greenhouse at nighttime, but this thing is slowly moving towards 100, so that's great. About 100 degrees coming out of there. So we're going from 100 to about so 80. It's hard to get a good reading on there. I saw 79 or 80 degrees, so we're definitely transferring about 20 degrees to the floor and the hoops of the greenhouse here. So those numbers are really coming up, and I'm super excited to be able to harvest the energy off of this free compost pile of wood chips. Now, in order to store and transfer that precious heat even better, I had insulated my copper tubing all the way out. I had rebuilt my box outside here. So I pulled all this stuff up. It is super insulated. So I had taken this pipe and ran it up on my copper tubing, up and separated my hot pipe from my cold pipe, the intake from outtake. And I ended up getting it up there about 3 to 4 feet. I basically was laying on the ground, shoving this up and kind of digging it out and then repacking in leaves and wood chips just to re-insulate it. So we've got great insulation on this whole little corner. I took a few pieces and insulated all this so we don't have any air blowing in from outside. This pipe actually feels like it's getting warmer. It's pretty darn hot there. So as the 1 week mark hits, we are finding success in this Jean Pain compost heating. We have a large enough pile and I can just feel the heat blowing out of this sucker. 100 degrees blowing at me is awesome, and especially on a cloudy day. When these systems just pulse, the temps actually go up because they're transferring much more heat inside that pile because we're forcefully pushing air fast through it. We're forcefully pushing water fast through it. So we could be pushing it slower because our copper is around a wooden pole in the middle. I could have looped it a little looser, but I didn't want to break my copper or get it damaged in the building of the pile because those wood chips are heavy. And I was worried about crushing my drain tile, but it seemed to hold up and it's definitely working well. So I'd really like to make a whole breakdown video and kind of show everybody what you need to get this going yourself, and kind of give a list of materials and give everybody some ideas and kind of run through everything that I've done up to this point. So as I stated before, I've got a nice little burner and I've got some of the parts I'm going to be using. This is a nice little ball valve. So I'm going to be running some lines next to try and burn some methane in here. And hopefully I can find some success with that, because I'd like to build some type of little stove where I can push a fan and transfer the heat and have a good heat transfer system from burning that methane, because all we'd have as a byproduct is moisture and CO2, which is carbon dioxide, which these plants are going to eat right up. So that is great for them. Not so good for me, but I don't think I'll burn in enough quantity to release enough, because the CO2, unlike methane, is heavy and it will drop to the ground. CO2 will flow down as methane goes up. I'm going to be planting a ton of seed in this entire bed also. Once I get all this cleaned up, I get all my blueberries, fig trees, sage, strawberries. Once I get all those moved and situated, I may put a few of them under tunnels. I may just move them down towards my bed so I can get more square footage to grow in, because those radishes are popping up in this greenhouse because we've had good temperatures and we've had a little bit of sunlight this week, so it's really aided the sprouting of our seeds. I've got this hoop covered, but we've got lots of seeds in there. Hopefully they're starting to germinate for us. We've only planted those 2 days ago on day 5 here, or day 4. I skipped right over day 6 and I jumped right to day 7 because I figured that at a week mark our compost pile would be really hot inside and our core would be starting to become an actual core and become active itself. So 7 to 10 days is about the range that a compost pile like this is going to heat up, and being that it was already cooking and we kind of flipped it inside out, I think we'll have good activity throughout the entire winter. All of that nitrogen just inoculated it and got all of those wood chips active, so they're fully composting and they're fully moist throughout the entire pile. Wanted to share one quick little tip with everyone before I let everybody go here. So I took one of these little clips and they actually have a hole in the middle there. It's just covered in rubber. So I took one of those clips, posted it up. I'm going to take another one, clip it there. We've really only got maybe a couple inches of gap. These are just scrap polys, but everything looks really well inside. All of our plants are doing well. We've got plenty of hot air coming in here. These hoops were about 45 degrees last night, and they never really dipped below 45 degrees because we had them both covered, and I had them pulled over and kind of cinched up as tight as I could get them. So we kept about 45 in there. I'm going to get these little solar fans hooked up, kind of hanging on the bars or maybe in this midpoint, so I can get some good oxygen flow and good aeration, ventilation throughout these plants. I mean, when it's sunny out, I can probably roll this up, because when that sun is hitting the greenhouse and we have that compost heat blowing in, we can get up to 80 degrees in no time. I mean, we've been out here maybe 20 minutes, half hour, and it's already 60 degrees because that compost heat has just basically got the heat level up to my chest. I can feel how warm it is up here. So that was day 7. I'll be bringing more updates for all of this as it procures here and as I make progress in the greenhouse and kind of develop everything into a winter greenhouse. We've got 60 degrees almost on the shady side here, so we're sitting pretty warm. We got 60 degrees throughout the entire greenhouse, so it should only get better from here. We should be bringing good updates throughout this winter. I'm hoping to get some snow so we can insulate that pile even further with all the free snow that falls. And once again, if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, please hit that like button. And if anybody's got any questions, drop it in the comments below, and if you got any ideas for me, definitely drop those in the comments too. I always love to think outside the box and hear other people's opinion on things that I've got going on for myself here. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching these videos and checking out all of this free energy that we've got going on inside the greenhouse here.